नमस्कार तुमकां सगळ्यांक तरंगाच्या आयच्या भागांत येवकार. आयज आमी तुमच्या मुखार एक अशें मानेस्त घेवन आयल्यात जाणें एक वेगळे तरेचें पुस्तक बरयलां. हरशीं आमी तुमच्या मुखार साहित्य घेवन येतात पुस्तकाच्या माध्यमांतल्यान. पुणून आयज एक पुस्तक आमी तुमच्या मुखार घेवन आयल्यात बूटस्ट्रॅप इन भारत. ज्या पुस्तकांत तांचो गायडन्स आसा, तांचो अणभव आसा आनी जातूंतल्यान नवो कोणी व्यक्ती जो स्टार्टअप करपाक सोदता तांकां एक मार्गदर्शन आसा. आमच्या बरोबर आसात ह्या पुस्तकाचे लेखक भोमानेस्त प्रज्योत
Thank
मायेंकर.
you. Thank you.
We welcome you, sir, on this show.
Thank you so much.
And I want
Pleasure.
to start with the very first question that what is there in Bootstrap in Bharat?
Sure. Firstly, thank you for having me as a part of this discussion. Bootstrap in Bharat is a journey of my interaction with several startups that I've advised, mentors in India, out of India. So this book comprises of 12 chapters, which is indeed some stories of interactions with people that I've had, challenges that someone faces in starting the journey. Beyond that, some of the ideas that someone can bootstrap in a way that he or she might be facing, and how to overcome those challenges if they have come across this. So this book belongs to someone who's starting his or her journey in a bootstrap manner. And 12 chapters have got different areas that I touch upon, whether it is cash flows, whether it is financial freedom number, hiring issues, AI implementations at the startup level. So I take care of entire, like I said, cases that I have sort of interacted with. This is more of an compilation of those studies and interactions that I've had. Audience obviously would be someone who's starting up, wants to understand the journey of how a bootstrap startup can be built. Is an ideal 12 chapters for them to go through.
So what made you write this book now? Do you see any gap in the IT industry or the startups in India?
Yeah. So in India, if you see, a lot of people look at numbers. They look at funding. You read a lot of news. Someone has raised fund. There are a lot of people in India, tier 2, tier 3 cities, who start off using self funds, families, friends, those funds, and they start grow from there, right? This is their journey. It's more of looking at people, and I mean, clearness examples are in Goa. You have a lot of people who start up in Goa. Goa is not technically known for raising high amount of funds. You will not see, there are a few set of companies who have raised funds, but that's particularly in IT and some other domains. Fundamentally, Goa has always been bootstrapped, state wherein companies have been grown in a bootstrap manner, right? Someone who's starting up probably spend a good decade to understand. That's a journey I wanted to sort of feature. Now, the motivation of this was being from Goa, and I've seen Goa as one of the most, of my lens. I think this book was dedicated to a lot of Goans who start up. So it is a journey of, I'm sure many would sort of correlate themselves with.
So when it comes to book, you always mention that it is not just theory, but you can directly apply or you can actually apply. So what is there in this book which most of the founders usually ignore but can give them the easiest way of, to earn return of interest?
Correct. So fundamental problems with startups today, right? And one of the questions that you asked, what is a number? Numbers in Goa have been increasing. We have a lot more startups now. And when I say startups, it is not just IT. Let's consider startups as agri-tech, let's consider health tech, meditech, and all other startups in the domain in Goa in particular. Now, having said that numbers have been increasing also means that lot of people look at the success numbers as funding, raising of funds, or someone probably has doing a impact to a largest level. There are still set of users who don't get glamorified with these numbers. They want to pave their own way in a more skillful manner, but keeping an eye on finances. So finance is an important aspects that I've covered majorly in this sort of book that I've written. And majorly, I'm only talking about how to grow your money in terms of creating an impact. Because any startup without a fund can always backfire if you take even a single wrong decision. These interactions have more curated in terms of different. I talk about hiring issues, AI coming into a space where what you can sort of automate. I also look at different angles of how a financial freedom should come in, because when you're a single founder, or probably you have another partner that was working with you, the challenges are also more how to look at for mentors, how to probably grow your marketing and sales. So that's also covered. Might not be in the most elaborative way, but I've covered the most highlighted problem. So it's a problem to solution sort of an manual for anyone who's referring to.
So you have been working closely with the state government also with
Yep.
the AI and social media kind everything rather
Yes.
I would say. Which is that one factor or other one which is that skill which is most underrated in Goa today?
Underrated, underutilized, I think
Yeah.
internships.
Hmm.
I think skill, talent are two different things. Someone might be really talented, but if you don't give an exposure to skill sets, I think that is where the problem lies. To be very honest, I think except for Goa University's MCA, which has got a 6 months duration of internship, I think it has not got penetrated that well in engineering, to be very honest. We need an elaborative way of internship, because when I say internship, it's all about skill building. When the industry know this is a talent which is available, they become an hireable talent. Why would they go out of Goa if you have what 600 plus companies in Goa who can probably potentially hire them? So we need to look at that genre of domain, but the education and industry cannot go north. They have to be in sync with the operation. Education and impact both need to go in hand, and I think fundamental problem lies in internship rate. So skill set with internship, I think, will create a great amplification for companies like us even to hire.
So we see today in Goa there are many events going on when it comes to startups. Like for example, recently we had Shakathon
Correct.
in Goa, and for that matter, in other aspects also, in other industries also. But we never see the follow-ups after the event. So, who do you feel fail here, the government or the students?
So I think, see, the problem with Goa here, right? We haven't had a density of companies. See, Bangalore evolved as Bangalore because there were a density of companies. There are cluster. If you go to any unit in Bangalore, you have so many companies operating. That's not the case in Goa. You have only industrial hubs, and in silos there are independent companies that are doing phenomenally well, right? Goa cannot be compared to Bangalore. Goa cannot be compared to Goa, which is 2 or 3 years back. This is a new momentum. AI has sort of given a sort of a bootstrap to a thought process of a lot of individuals. I wouldn't really say a blame to anyone in this case. I think it's just an adaptability. Goa has been running too fast in terms of execution, which is great for its own taste. But a lot of fundamental problem lies in when people compare Goa with Hyderabad or Pune. We cannot be them, and we shouldn't be them. I think Goa needs to first adopt to, like you said, Shackleton happened. What's next? So those series of events will get moments going, but it needs to have a takers like us as well to be participating. So it's sort of both. One, the government would need to take more events, which I'm sure now there is a lot of events that have been happening around. I'm sure in future also there will be. The other side, there has to be takers, because numbers play an important role. So we need to show up in numbers. The Goa impact needs to happen in terms of starting up as well. Startup brings employment, right? And that is very important for any industry to prosper. More companies, better the density, people will believe in the system to stay in Goa, build from Goa. So I think entrepreneurship, startups, I think that's the culture that Goa needs to sort of compare Goa to maybe a year or before that, not to Bangalore. I think it's the fundamental thought process issue.
So since you mentioned about AI, so we have AI cameras recently installed all over Goa on the junctions, and there has been misconceptions in the people's mind. So I would like you to clear them about these misconceptions and the narrative that has been created all over Goa.
Yeah.
I would say wrongly created.
So the fundamental problem lies in understanding any sort of licensing that we have. And when I say licensing, is not a physical license, but I think you see what has been the issue with rent a cab, rent a bike, and you see people dying on the road. This is one of the steps in which I think it's a great step to be awareness, because I think we as Indians need to be more responsible. A discipline of driving is fundamental problem that AI could solve in this case. And I personally saw so many people yesterday, just because this was sort of starting from
Yeah.
yesterday, and I would see a lot of people still doing those nuances which is required. It's a fundamental. I think it's a great move by government. They need to even tighten the screws, to be very honest, because I think the road discipline is one of the most important, because a lot of people die. I mean, we have statistics from Goa as well. A lot of people die, whether it is a car, bike, rent a car or rent a bike involvement, or I think the other infrastructure issues that we have come. I think it's a great move. I think AI will definitely help things. I think it's not just at AI in traffic management. I think overall there is a lot of importance of AI in today, particularly in all the departments that Goa can sort of include.
So my next question, you may choose not to answer, but when we say we need to develop, we need to get IT hubs in Goa, we need to get more industries in Goa. But then on the other side, we see people, protesting against whatever development is happening in Goa. So what is your take on that?
I think IT in India, thanks to Honorable Prime Minister's Startup India, build in India, make in India, right? And that's whole notion which has given an adrenaline rush to a lot of people in Goa. I think generally in India as well. So it's our contribution to make sure that we have a support from government, we have a support from people, because startups, for that matter, is going to give immense hope to a lot of people who are jobless today, right? We talk about AI cutting jobs, which obviously it's going to be there. I mean, people are going to be losing jobs, and I hope that doesn't. But I'm just being very, very specific, because people have been talking about AI making,
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably coin it in a way that AI will impact those jobs which probably don't use AI more effectively. So skilled resources is the same
Yeah.
center point. Having said that, industries, I think a lot of support is required, but sustainable support is required. Now, when I say sustainable, it cannot destroy an ecosystem and then build an infrastructure. It needs to go in hand. So, hand to hand sort of a thing. So, good infrastructure development needs to happen. But I always welcome infrastructure development in a more ethical manner in terms of sustainable, without destroying the ecology that Goa has. I think that should be a welcome step. I'm sure that most of the industry colleagues of ours would really agree to that, because we need density. And I think this infrastructure is going to build a density for us.
So you mentioned about AI going to take away jobs and everything. So when we say that, what AI policy can, how AI policy can be helpful here for a founder of a new startup, or rather, I would say, aspirant who is going to join his job. आता रोकडोच करपाचो आसा असो जॉब हें करपाचो आसा एप्लाय करपाचो आसा ऑर रादर अ स्टुडंट आय वूड से हाव AI policy can help him, or rather how central government or the state government can help him so that his job is not taken away.
Correct. So I'll probably, before AI policy, let me also talk about startup and
Yeah.
IT policy also.
Yeah.
Startup policy in Goa, of Goa rather, is one of the best policies that, I've been part of the journey, so I can probably talk
Yeah.
about. Government of Goa has been dispersing funds to a lot of startups who are, doing fabulous work. I mean, right from space to hiring people from Goan origin, and all of that has been scripted. So that helps. So AI policy is just an append to a newer direction, because obviously AI is in motion. We are looking at Goa AI mission, wherein we expect a lot of companies to probably build from Goa, look at AI as an innovation experience to them as well. They build in AI, build with AI. That is what you're looking at. Ultimately, the goal is the same. Density increase of Goan companies. You look at hiring more Goans, retaining the talent in Goa. These are the activities that I think every company is trying to do. And with obviously government's help. AI policy is just an extension that Goa needs to have into a bus which is into an AI. I think world is going through AI. AI will not cut jobs. I think we have to look at the other angle, which is skilling. So AI mission also looks at skilling. So skilling and engineering, technical education. So ministry has been playing an important role in skilling, and we are one of the earliest states to implement that,
Mm.
right? Announcements have already happened. There's a lot of audits which have happened. It's one of the policies which has gone open to public for public review also, which is great. I no state has ever done that. So which is very open, because we are expecting people sitting in US or Canada to probably give your feedback, and they are from Goan origin as well.
Also there are different types of financial benefits that are provided by government, right?
Absolutely. I mean, disbursement is another. I think ease of doing business is one of the most coined terminology. I have seen personally, I can speak on behalf of Startup Cell, which we have got, Startup Promotion Cell. They've been doing fabulous work under DS Prashant, who is the head. I think they've been doing fabulous work. And one of the earlier states to actually have a special dedicated cell to look at startups, because it's a small state. We need to also build in a lot of startups coming in Goa. But people's thoughts are about tourism, right? Goa first have to wipe off that unit of thought, right? Yes, tourism is there. Good tourism we have to welcome. Good companies we have to welcome, for which I think we need to be an open arm, as long as the definition of Goa remains the same. Right?
So, as a author, I would say, but more even as a part of being into formation of AI policy, working with the state government, and also on your personal level, what is your plan for next 5 years? Where do you want to take the state of Goa, to which level?
A better Goa, to be very honest. AI in Goa. I typically say this. I spoke during the hackathon. I said, Goan AI, the AI. So Goan AI.
Okay.
So you get people to work in Goa. I would personally like Goans to choose Goa as a destination to work. Because I think that is a density. I'm not just looking at company densities. There are so many companies, so many tech communities that are doing very well. And all of the directions remain the same. How to breed from Goa. Goa has a great ecosystem. We have a great internet connection. So many startups also are getting into internet connection. We have land. We have infrastructure. It's all about cooking in Goa today, to a largest levels of execution. Impact factor, I think media houses such as yours would probably help us to take it ahead. But fundamental issue is, why migrate, right? We look at Goa as building something, and it need not be a startup. It could be any solution which would hire a common man to solve this problem. AI is going to get in, accept or not. AI has got into the entire DNA of the state. We're trying to make sure that we pitch Goa as a digital destination in the country, where people come, are welcome, not just by as a tourist, but as an entrepreneur, where Goa would say that, you sit across any beach, we will give you the internet, we will give you the infrastructure, you build from Goa, right? But also hire talent from Goa, because we don't want the skill to be going out. Of course, we have to create opportunity. It doesn't mean that we don't want people to go out and make an impact. Just that, let's keep Goa as in a beautiful way how Goa has been always, right? Keep the talent, build from Goa, and hire more. That's how we are going to prosper. Startups are the future. So my highlight has always been build from Goa, which will create a larger impact. And like you said, students, they need to even experiment. The skilling comes in place, interacting with industry comes in place. I think that's happening. So if you ask me, Goa 2026 is much better than Goa 2025.
So last question, is India ready for AI?
At this particular point, at the time we are taking this interview, certainly we are more of consumers than sort of looking at the larger data centers. Of course, there have been companies, Sarvam, there have been a lot of companies. We have had AI summit as well in Delhi. A lot of companies would still see India as consumers rather than, and the numbers speak. We are more on data outsourcing, right? I mean, we look at data. I mean, WhatsApp, larger user base, ChatGPT, larger user base. We've been more of, we rent out data, right? It'll take some time for India to be, sort of producers of AI. It's happening. There are tier 1, tier cities, tier 2 cities, there are innovations happening, but using some AI, sort of backbone of which have been developed by other countries. But having said that, we're in the right direction, because to understand the producibility, we also need to understand the consumption. So when you understand the other side of it, the production becomes much easier. So we are at one side of it, but I see no doubt when India cannot be a superpower in AI. Of course, it'll take some time, because we have other challenges to look at. We need to be really patient with AI, because we don't know what curve AI is going to take. See, people will talk about losing the job, and suddenly then when the cost of tokens would increase, the infrastructure cost would increase, we might even fall back on human. Human intelligence cannot be overtaken by AI intelligence, right? It will complement. So human can become AI, human can use AI as a co-worker. I have a complementary AI help. cannot superimpose it, right? We still need human intelligence, right? Because I think the emotion plays an important role here.
Sir, thank you so much for giving us your valuable time, and once again congratulations for the book.
Thank you so much.
Yes. आणि एक सरान जशें सांगलें की गोंयान येयात
Yeah.
ओके, गोंयान येयात पुणून येता तेन्ना गोंयकारां खातीरच फायदो जातलो हेंय लक्षांत धरात.
Absolutely.
अँड विथ दीस नोट आय विल लायक टू एंड दिस इंटरव्यू रायट हियर. आमी अशेच विशय तुमच्या मुखार घेवन येत रावतले. पळयत रावात द वॉयस फॉर गोंय.
The voice for Goem.